Black Lives Matter, uncringe. You are Pog. Black Lives Matter is Pog, not Weird Champ, okay? But apparently, this guy has very different plans because he's going to show us how Black Lives Matter is actually very Weird Champ, and he's exposing BLM for its reverse racism, apparently. I have no clue what he means. That sounds actually ridiculous. But hey, everybody has to make themselves feel special sometime. So I guess it's this guy's turn to do something, I guess. So listen, I don't know. I literally watched 1 minute of this and I wanted to blow my brains out. So I guess we're going to see how this is, okay? Just stay with me.
So I wanted to continue
my ears, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it.
My discussion on the whole Black Lives Matter movement and give you my thoughts on this. I've done some thinking about this and I've come to the conclusion that this isn't about logic. It's not about equality. It's not about a debate. People don't really want a rational discussion. Nobody's out there really discussing any of the issues. People are just out there fueled on emotion, rage, general discontent, frustration at society. And a lot of people I think out there are desperate at a time like this.
Okay, if you go to a rally, if you go to like a BLM protest, because I've been to one, you could just like walk around and then ask people what they feel and then they'll tell you. I don't know what you mean. BLM is a disjointed, decentralized movement. If you just want to do a BLM, you can do a BLM whenever you want. You can have a single person rally for BLM. Okay, you just like walk down the street with your sign. I don't know what he's talking. I don't know how you can like generalize a lot of people like that. If you go, these people are talking to their politicians. What do you mean they don't want to have a discussion? They just want to win the discussion like you do. Like everybody does. I don't think anybody goes into a discussion wanting to lose. I don't know what you're talking about. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the content as long as you hit the right power words. Right. I have to hit this. Got to hit the spot. So I don't know what this guy's talking about, but he says like people are just desperate. Go ahead.
Because the economy is pretty trash right now. People are losing their jobs or they're just going stir crazy from being cooped up at home all the time. And
wait, so you think that people's like problem with today, you think this all spurred out of just people just getting like cabin fever? They're like, I've been sitting at home for 3 months. Oh my gosh, I have to do something. I've got it. Let's protest systemic racism in the police. That's it. And then everyone was just like, okay. They don't have any like prescriptions about it. They don't like care. They're just like, hey, I'm really bored. Let's do a protest. Really? Like you're going to discredit these people's like genuine criticisms of the society that we live in right now? Society. Because we do live in a society and people think it's kind of bad. So we should like fix that. And you don't, so it's just like, oh, they don't really have any like ideas. They're just like out there as a meme. It's just like one big meme for them. It's just really fun. Okay.
And people want stuff. People want privilege. And that's really the only means of survival that they have. And you just start blaming other people for your position. And you just...
People want privilege? I think people just want to live. I think people just want to like have a house, not live paycheck to paycheck, not be shot by your local cop for like sitting there, not having your like neck stepped on for 10 minutes for like literally no reason. I think that's what people want more than like privilege. I'm not sure if any of these people are like, dang, I really wish I was privileged right now. I think they're just like, dang, I really wish I could like live my life without being like halted.
Take on the victim mentality, the victim mindset, and you start saying, it's because I was born in this way. It's because you're being racist against me. It's because people are not being fair to me. And you just start blaming everybody else out there and saying, the world owes me something.
What? I think the world owes everybody to treat them as humans and with like dignity and respect. Okay. And I think that's mostly what all these people are looking for. Honestly. They're like, I need me. What about me? Like, dude, do you think that there's like no problems that these people can like bring up? Do you think that there's literally no problems that African Americans have in this country when it comes to the, like that comes from the criminal justice system? None. No discriminatory practices are done in the criminal justice system at all. Zero. None. Absolutely none. It's just people wanting to feel special. Okay, like this is what these people just don't live in reality.
Because if you think about it, really, there are so many other minorities out there that have been discriminated against, right? For example,
Okay, here he goes. He's gonna rattle off every single minority that had problems because if one person because oh yes, 200 years of slavery, sure that's a problem, but did you know that like Irish people, we didn't like Irish people or Catholic people for a while? Listen, okay, just because two people have problems don't or two groups have problems doesn't mean that they have equal problems. All right? Having problems and having equal problems are two different things, okay? If I stub my toe when I'm walking around my house, that's a problem. If my house blows up, all right, that's also a problem. I wouldn't say these things are equal, but okay.
Middle Eastern people, Native Americans, they're probably being discriminated even more so than black people. In fact, if you take a look at black people, they have it pretty good when you consider we've had.
Oh no! What? What? If you look, Native Americans. I mean, there's like something to be said about like how Native Americans and Middle Eastern Americans are treated in this country. Okay, I think that's a valid discussion. I don't really care for this like oppression Olympics that this guy is trying to like foster here. How about we just like fix all the problems? All right. Whatever.
The black president in the NBA, it's all black people. We have these huge blockbuster movies like Black Panther.
Wait, guys, racism doesn't exist anymore. We had Obama. The NBA has black people in it. There's a Black Panther movie, and that was about a fake country in Africa. Come on, guys, racism doesn't exist anymore. Come on, what are you talking about?
Which are entirely black cast of people. You've got black people represented in movies, music. Almost every single big Hollywood movie has several black people in there. And then when you take a look at, well, where are the Asian people in these places? Where are the Native Americans?
Oh, he's doing it. He's like, what about the Asians? What about the Asians?
Indians, Middle Eastern, Italians, Filipinos, and all the other types of people who compose up of America. Where are they? And I know that you.
I mean, people are pushing for more representation. Well, wasn't it like Shipwrecked or something? Or like Fresh Off the Boat or Just Off the Boat or something? That like big Asian movie or like Crazy Rich Asians. There are like a lot of, but Asian people are really coming up in when it comes to like media representation. I mean, listen. What do you mean Asian people are discriminated against? Ever heard of Andrew Yang? He was like a guy. What are you talking about? There's no discrimination against Asian people. What do you mean? This is what a ridiculous argument. This is the pinnacle of post hoc rationalization. He's like, black people don't have any problems. They just like to complain a lot. Look at Asians. Look at Native Americans. Now they have it bad. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I saw a black person movie. Racism is over. Remember they were riding on their like mecha tigers in like Black Panther? Racism is over.
You can say, well, black people have been slavery in the US. Well, you take a look at these other races, like take a look at Japanese people. They were war prisoners in the US. They have probably been treated even worse. And
Wait, no, he didn't do it. I want to hear him say it again. I don't want to believe I heard what I just heard.
And I know that you can say, well, black people have been slavery in the US. Well, you take a look at these other races, like take a look at Japanese people. They were war prisoners in the US. They have probably been treated even worse.
I'm shocked. I've never heard a take so nuclearly stupid than that. Well, as you see, in World War II, there were Japanese internment camps. And that was worse than literal 200 years of chattel slavery, where people were like raped, tortured, and used as property for 200 years. Were Japanese internment camps that bad? Listen, I didn't do like that much research into the internment camps, but I'm pretty sure they weren't like death camps. I don't think we had like Nebraska Birkenau. I'm pretty sure the Japanese internment camps weren't that bad. Were they? Am I being? I don't think that this is historical in any way. I don't think this is historical. He's like, sure, yeah, black people had it bad, I guess. Well, my grandpa was in a Japanese internment camp, so, and he wasn't even Japanese. I'm not sure if this guy's Japanese. But sometimes they threw like Japanese people and people who they thought were Japanese were just kind of Asian in there. But they weren't that bad. They were bad. interning people based on their ethnicity is absolutely abhorrent. But to say that that was worse than literal chattel slavery, I don't think you can back up that point, dog. Okay.
And some of these other countries, they have their own histories in which these immigrants who are not part of the US, those people suffered too. I believe that every generation should start fresh.
How can you, yeah, I don't think, how do you think you can be as bad as having starting off at zero wealth at the turn of the century because you were owned as you and your parents and your great grandparents and your great great grandparents were owned as like property and didn't have any money to them and were completely illiterate and were like tortured for their entire lives. Like how do you and then like Japanese people were in an internment camp for like 1 year. And then he's like, yes, these people suffered far worse. Then what are you talking about? This is nuclearly too like stupid. I feel like I'm getting, I can feel like the cancer, like freaking cells growing on my back.
Right? I don't want my children to have to pay for the crimes of my ancestors.
Yeah, and I don't think that suffering from one person should transfer to the next generation, but it does. I'm sorry. Listen, when it comes to the civil rights and like social equality and things like that, it's not about white people because white people are the people who are mostly doing this in this country. Well, they're the ones with the vast majority of power in this country making the decisions. It's not about them versus like the marginalized group. It's about the state. It's about the U.S. government paying back these groups of people that they disenfranchise. And the thing that he won't tell you is that didn't Japanese people get like reparations from their internment? Wait, let's see if this is real. The legislator admitted that the government's actions were based on racial prejudice, war hysteria, and the failure of political leadership, and the U.S. government eventually distributed more than $1.6 billion, equivalent to $3.46 billion in 2019, in reparations to almost 100,000 Japanese Americans who were in their internment camps and their heirs. So, okay. So, all right. So Japanese people got like paid back from the level of suffering that they got, but like the people who were like literally kept as property until like almost the 1900s, you guys got it good. Okay, buddy.
That was
I ruined it.
Type of thing, systemic bias. But the past 100 years ago, this thing happened of my ancestors. That was the past. Let it be. And you can't really just go back and say, hey, remember 50 years ago, 100 years ago, this thing happened.
50 years ago? What are you talking about? Like racial minorities didn't have the legal protection to not be like discriminated against when it comes to voting. Marginalized racial groups didn't have the same rights as white people until like 1964. If you remember, that's like 55 years ago. Groups of people in this country didn't have the same rights as others until 55 years ago. One lifetime. One. That's younger than like half my friends' parents. That's like 20, 30 years younger than half my friends' parents. What are you talking about? You think that this... okay.
Well, now I want your children to pay for that, which happened to my grandfather. And sure,
but the suffering still persists. What are you talking about? Like if you hurt someone and then the suffering in that group still exists, there still needs to be wounds to be patched. You can't shoot someone and they come back like, hey, can you pay for my medical bills? You'd be like, oh, that happened like 10 years ago. What are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about, dude? I still have to wear like a crutch or something. I still have to use a crutch or something, or like, because like their leg got hurt or something. Like the suffering still persists. Even no matter how long ago, we can still see the effects of redlining today.
I do understand that there may be some systemic bias, but the path forward is not to fight racism with more racism. If you want to lift people up, I would say that you help people.
In what did he describe was racism? Where did he see racism? Where? I don't get it. I don't understand.
Not just based on skin color, which is not quite the right way to think and move forward, but based on social economic class, income levels, poverty level, language ability, geography, neighborhoods, those type of things. I want to show you something that...
I mean, Sure, that's great, but there are specific problems in this country that have to do specifically and only with race. You can't fix all race problems through through like class solutions. That's like just class reductionism. There are some problems that persist just solely because of racism, and that needs to be fixed. And he's trying to like hand wave that away as, oh no, it's like nothing really. You just don't look here. Shh, go back to sleep. There's no racism, bro.
Bothered me quite a bit, and it was that when I was at Facebook, there was someone known as the Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer, and this person happened to be a black woman. And I just couldn't help but think, could a white male or Asian male or Middle Eastern women have taken on this role? Or was this kind of like just a role created so that they could have the token black person within the company kind of representing this whole group of people? So many.
I think this person has an actual job. I'm pretty sure this person like genuinely has a job that they do. Diversity and inclusion efforts are pretty big in lots of like companies. It's just good for like company functioning. Tim Pool did like a really stupid video on how the military has a diversity and inclusion initiative like organization within their ranks, because the military's goal is to, well, at its very base level, defend the United States. Okay, and so it's very deleterious to the military's goal for there to be like racial factions that that lead to soldiers not caring for each other and not working together as cohesively as possible, because that weakens the military's ability to defend the country. And racial biases in the company makes the company run less smoothly, will stir up controversy and lead to them getting less money. So I'm pretty sure that this person has an actual job.
Many people seem to miss out on the idea that diversity is not just black. It seems like in America, when you say diversity, it doesn't really mean diversity of the rainbow or equality across all different types of people and perspectives, regardless of, say, skin color, or even inclusive of skin color. And so
Well, I think there's an argument to be made that when people talk about diversity, the first thing that comes to their head is like black people. But I think there's a really pretty valid reason in our like culture how these sorts of people usually that sort of person is usually the one that people think about that needs you kind of use a little bit more of a hand getting up than other groups. You know, maybe it's because maybe I don't know, maybe that 1 point. Oh, I'm covering his face. I just noticed. I don't know, maybe that like $1.6 billion that Japanese people from the internment camp, I don't know. Maybe it just makes everything go away. Who knows?
Back to my original point, if I go here on Twitter and see the responses that I'm getting, a lot of these people, it's just, they're not really giving really rational debate. A lot of this is just rage. What? Like you see some people saying, just delete this comment. Some people here
with all those multi-millionaires, I think you could buy education, but you'd have to care first. Ooh, my man's getting roasted.
Amazing. Every word you just said is wrong. Oh, just stop it.
Oh boy, just stop, Chief. Awareness, 0. Smooth brain takes. Everything I'm seeing is true. I'm not seeing an untrue statement here yet.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb.
Yep, you are pretty dumb. Usually black-owned businesses are also small businesses, so they're supporting small businesses. That's just happened to be black-owned. Quit reaching, bro. Oh, so apparently this guy's. I'm pretty sure I'm quite sure that this person has some pretty bad racial views. From like the way he views the world and how he kind of like sidestep like racial issues in this country. I can deduce pretty reasonably to me that like in this guy's private, or if I dig through his videos, I can find some very, very poor racially charged views. I'm pretty confident on that.
F off. From now on, this person's only supporting black tech leads. Dude, just no. Yeah, this tweet of yours is pretty yikes. Silicon Valley is racist. So what level of stupid does exist? Wow. People aren't really having debate anymore. It's just out.
What are you talking about? They just wanted to shit on you because it's Twitter. What people are like, he's like, he puts out a tweet and he's like, why aren't I getting hundreds of like post-grad college dissertations in my Twitter comment section? Very interesting, the society we live in. Dog, it's Twitter. 240 characters. What is the tweet you put out? You asked for a way to find black-owned restaurants on Uber Eats. We listened. You can now support an order from black-owned restaurants across the U.S. and Canada with a $0 delivery fee. See app for terms and availability. That's pretty racist. Next up, only blacks are allowed in certain restaurants. That is not what they did whatsoever. The ability for you to find and support black-owned businesses is not discriminating against other businesses. See, this is what they say when this is what socialists mean when they say when equality comes, the people in power see it as discrimination.
Responses that I'm getting, a lot of these people, it's just,
oh, mind you, once again, this guy's a millionaire.
they're not really giving really rational debate. A lot of this is just rage. Like you see some people saying, just so dumb, you are, yeah, this tweet of yours is pretty yikes anymore. It's just outrage. And I hear this sometimes where to many people, when they have a debate, it's about power. It's not about who's right or who's wrong, coming to terms with other people. It's just about taking a stance and elevating themselves to show that they're more powerful than you in order to gain dominance. And I feel that this is how some people are trying to communicate at this point. And you know, maybe this is exactly the type of discussion that a site like Twitter lends itself to, where there's not enough characters to really have a debate, right? You have 280 characters to write something, you just rage pretty much, and people aren't out here really thinking. There was this interesting comment here from another ex-Google tech lead. He says, okay, can you imagine how hostile these kinds of posts would feel to a person of color working on your team? Well, my response to that is, well, let's say that on your team you have a Asian person, Native American person, Indian person, Middle Eastern person, and a black person.
Wait, I don't want to hear him talk. I want to read what he said. Appreciate the intent, but can you imagine how hostile non-black minorities would feel? I'm not sure if that's how you write that. Hostile non-black minorities would feel working on a team that gives privilege to people based on skin color. Then there are more than just black and white people out there who are being discriminated against. Sure, but I think these black businesses are the ones that have it worse. I mean, we could do a thing where it's like all minority businesses, like minority-owned businesses, get pretty boosted. Sure. I'm pretty sure Uber also has like a small business thing. No one's getting discriminated against. But okay, like, all right. It's just a thing that says, hey, you can now support black-owned businesses. Okay. I don't know. Are Native American businesses like struggling or something? Also, Native Americans have like a system to help them. They have their like reservation system and government grants and things like that. So they already get helped. Asian Americans in this country are usually doing pretty well. They're usually on the top echelon of almost everything, on income, of like a lot of things. They're usually doing quite well. I don't know what else. This seems just like evening the playing field. But I don't know. Maybe equality looks like discrimination in this guy.
And then you provide privilege, say even a promotion, to the black person only based on the color of their skin.
This is not what's happening. Where? Can you please tell me where someone's gotten a promotion solely because of their skin color? I'd love to know. If anybody has any information on this, please give it to me, because I have never once seen that someone's gotten like a work promotion or like that solely only because of their skin color. This does not happen.
Give them extra little discounts, little goodies, specials. The other people on the team would feel like you're being hostile to them. They would not feel comfortable with that. And so that's what I'm talking
hostile? What? They're not being discriminated against. What are you talking about
here? And so let me give you my opinion on the general Black Lives Matter movement. I think that overall, it's a good movement, but it needs a lot of refining. So there's this guy, George Floyd, black person. He was wrongfully killed by the police. And so now the world is marching under the Black Lives Matter banner. And that's fine. That's great. I think they can spearhead this movement and show the world the way. And just imagine, how great would it be if the Black Lives Matter community said they just want equality for all. And they're not really demanding for more privilege for just black people only, but they're just saying, hey, they just...
Wait. He keeps like switching around privilege and equality. Having the same privilege is equality. I don't know. What's he talking about? Does he think that they want like black people to be like the controllers of the world or something? That they want like does he think that Black Lives Matter wants to like enslave other people, put them in internment camps? I don't know. What is he?
They just want general racism to end for everybody, and they want to support all peoples of all colors and minorities out there, and generally end this whole system of, say, white supremacy. Because the fact is, so many other minorities and races out there are being discriminated against.
Listen, just because there are other problems in the world doesn't... Puppy. My doggo wanted to shake. Just because there are other problems in the world doesn't mean that you can focus on one. Not everybody can focus on every problem at all points in time in the history of the universe, okay? Just because there's a problem, oh, you can see him there. Just because there's a problem doesn't mean that you have to focus on every problem, okay? This one is specifically about African Americans and also European Africans. Sorry, the people of African descent who live in Europe. Those people as well. When we're looking at Bristol in like Britain and the marches going on in like Germany and the UK, things like that. This movement is specifically about them. I mean, if you want a movement about like another group of people started, I bet a lot of people would be behind it who would support BLM too. I don't know where this is coming from. It's just like getting really mad that one group of people are like in the forefront of having their like civil rights and like social equality restored. And then like he's like, well, this is unfair because other people have problems too. Well, then if you feel that way, then like start something. But he won't. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about any of this. He just doesn't like. He just interjects himself with literally nothing to add to the conversation, and then just gets mad about how other people are trying to do something about making the world a better place while he sits on his ass and rakes in the millions or whatever the hell.